Oh, wow, look, there goes another willing participant. Yep, as those are the scenes that a lot of people in Ukraine have to deal with, as, of course, the stage is being set for a global, international, ever-expanding, escalatory conflict that, sadly, there looks like there is no end in sight to all of this, as Vladimir Putin has just spoken to Donald Trump. He has made some very big declarative statements and moves with the Ukrainians that are very telling right now, as, of course, it's pretty clear here all bets are off, and the situation, it's just a horrible one. It's not good. It's not good for the future of Europe, for the future of Slavic people. And I kind of wanted to argue what probably will be happening next here. I think there's two big kind of escalatory situations that I see the Russians kind of committing to and doing. And I'm going to be describing that and a lot more. And if you appreciate our geopolitical coverage, which, by the way, has been right on the money for many years on end now. A lot of people are like, you're sensationalistic to think there's going to be a war with Russia. War with Europe and Russia, you're crazy. Well, guess what, son of a gun? We were on the money, and we were calling it for a very long time. You go to this YouTube channel 15 years back, and you're like, oh, yeah, you were warning about this, and it's happening. How did you have the foresight? We just paid attention. It didn't take a genius to figure out all of the escalatory moves made to this crescendo move that is only going to lead to more escalatory situations from here. So if you appreciate that, subscribe, click the notification button, as this situation that is already tense is going to get a lot more tense. As already, we are seeing the ongoing Russian-Ukrainian talks right now fail. They failed in many metrics. They failed in understanding each other. They failed because there was major escalations right before the eve of talks and negotiations. As it looks like the only thing that did kind of work out here after Putin made his statement is that we are seeing one of the largest prisoner swamps of the war. Now, some people are saying, oh, this is a good thing. This is any good bill, good gesture. No, it's not. This is a sign of Putin, who just made some very declarative statements, making his moves initialized here before the total breakdown of communications, before the total retaliation that we are all expecting him to make here very soon. We have also seen the Russians return at least 6,000 bodies of Ukrainian soldiers, which a lot of people see as a big blow to the Ukrainians, as the Ukrainians will now have to pay the family members 15 million in hryvnia. Now with 6,000 militants, that is going to be about 90 billion hryvnia, their currency, or in the tune of 2.167 billion US dollars. Now, why are they making these huge prisoner swamps and these huge moves here? Well, Vladimir Putin just declared on national television, this is his first statement 72 hours after what he is describing as a terrorist attack by the Ukrainians on the Russian Federation, that he no longer will be declaring Ukraine a sovereign state, but he will be declaring Ukraine as a terrorist state. He then went on and says, who negotiates with terrorists? What's there to talk to about with them? Putin said, as still no direct retaliation so far, but with Putin setting up the landscape here, setting up the kind of legalese argument to say, these aren't countries, these aren't armies, these are terrorists here. Again, we're still dealing with a special military operation that Vladimir Putin has a lot of restrictions for his military to conduct themselves by. I see Putin getting rid of those restrictions very soon, and he's going to be essentially treating the situation like he's dealing with terrorists, and he's doing that predominantly because there were innocent civilians that were hurt with these latest attacks that were conducted against the Russians inside of their own territory. Specifically, there was a derailment of a train, an explosion of a train railroad that took the lives of 7 Russian citizens. And therefore, Putin is saying, these are terrorists. We no longer will be negotiating with terrorists. We no longer will be in direct talks with them. And we're just going to do whatever we want in this type of situation. As, of course, we have seen national security states declare, oh, no, these guys are terrorists. We saw what the Bush administration did. Oh, no, these guys are just terrorists. We get to do whatever we want to them. and we get to bomb them to smithereens here. When the United States invaded Iraq, they went after all of the major kind of infrastructure of that country. We see Putin trying to go after some of the infrastructure of Ukraine, but he hasn't fully taken it out like a lot of people kind of expected him to do it in a war. But he says this is not a war. This is just a special military operation. Now, Putin did tell Trump that he will be hitting back Ukraine for the surprise drone attack and the sabotage attacks on the railroads that happened to his country. And then we have Donald Trump's statement out of all of this. And Donald Trump's statement is pretty eye-opening, as he just says, quote, and this is interesting because you see Putin reaching out to the United States saying, we're going to retaliate, which means they're going to retaliate in a big way. And they want to make sure the United States is involved here. Because, again, there's a number of things at stake here, specifically with the violation of a nuclear treaty that allowed and forced the Russians to have all of their nuclear kind of airplane arsenal for display, for satellites to see, for this kind of deal that, again, no longer will be applicable here. Before going into Donald Trump's statement and Lindsey Graham's surprise hotel room bill, we wanted to tell you about lookunfiltered.com. As, of course, I just got off the phone with Jeremy from the Quartering. I am going to be in the Chicago, Milwaukee area, and we're going to do a meetup with me and all of the members of Jeremy's membership site and our membership site on lookunfiltered.com. You could sign up and become a member for less than 20 cents a day. We can't thank you guys enough for your generosity and your support. It really humbles us, and it means the world to us, and I can't thank you enough. And we try to give back as much as we can, and that's why we are officially doing a members-only meetup with Jeremy's of the Quartering members as well in Milwaukee. Coming up July 9th. It's a Wednesday, July 9th at around 8 p.m. at an undisclosed location that will be revealed to members within 12 hours. We'll give you the general vicinity soon, but the location will be given out just to members on our membership site. So if you haven't signed up for that yet, what are you waiting for? And then I'm also looking at doing another range day around that time too. In Southern Florida, range days also just for members alone. We take a special class together. It's super fun, super challenging, super exciting type of stuff here that you can only expect on lookunfiltered.com. And again, I try to give back to my members as much as I can. A lot of people are just like, hey, sign up my membership, bye, screw off. Here's a lazy video I did. I don't like doing that. I like to meet you guys. I like to network with you guys. I like to bring you with other people. The meetups that we've been doing have been bringing together a lot of really cool, awesome people. I usually bring out a lot of cool people just to come hang out that are a part of my social group or a part of my friends group. It's a big social network. You also get to talk to me directly. There's some people in the chat room. You get access to the chat room, the Telegram chat room through lookunfiltered.com. Someone asked me, hey, Luke, what did Rand Paul do to you a couple years ago? I told everyone what he did to me. And someone close to me that wasn't too nice in the chat room. You want to see? You want to sip the tea? Sign up to lookunfiltered.com, 20 cents a day, and then you're able to see the kind of private conversations that are not really private at all, because you guys will just kind of tell everybody it's okay. I ask you not to, but it's fine. I have very earnest, honest conversations with you guys. Be a part of those conversations. Feel free to ask me whatever you want on lookunfiltered.com. Sign up right now, and I will be talking to you directly one-on-one. One of the many benefits of signing up to lookunfiltered.com. Now, let's go back to this particular story, because this announcement by Putin isn't good. Now, what Trump had to say was very telling. He says, quote, I just finished speaking by telephone with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. The call lasted approximately 1 hour and 15 minutes. We discussed the attack on Russia's docked airplanes by Ukraine and also various other attacks that have been taking place by both sides. It was a good conversation, but not a conversation that will lead to immediate peace. You don't say so. Yeah, pretty clear. You violate one of those nuclear treaties. You don't show good faith on the eve of peace negotiations. Now Ukraine's designated a terrorist state by the Russians. They're going to treat this like any kind of government would treat terrorists, and now you could expect some very serious, heavy-handed approaches by the Russians. Trump says, President Putin did say, and very strongly, that he will have to respond to the recent attacks on the airfields. We have also discussed Iran, and the fact that time is running out on Iran's decisions pertaining to nuclear weapons, which must be made quickly. I stated to President Putin that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, and on this, I believe that we were in agreement. President Putin suggested that we should participate in the discussion with Iran, that he could perhaps be helpful in getting this brought to a rapid conclusion. It is in my opinion that Iran has been slow walking their decision on this very important matter, and we will need a definitive answer in a very short period of time. Now, a lot to do with Iran here, very little to do with Ukraine, as Donald Trump hasn't really issued a statement about Ukraine's action, as there's scuttlebutt and rumors that he knew, that he didn't know. Now, Putin is letting Trump know, we're going to respond. Did the Ukrainians tell Trump? Who knows? We don't know that yet. Some people are saying, oh, no, they just acted and totally were doing stuff without informing the president of the United States, which I don't buy, to be quite honest. I think Donald Trump, who tweeted a few days ago before this attack, saying, I am preventing and stopping a lot of very bad things from happening inside of your country to Russia, I think that was the kind of signal. And I think Donald Trump, this is just my own kind of hunch here. This is just my own opinion here. And again, we'll find out later. In my opinion, Donald Trump was the one that said, yeah, go ahead, launch him, launch this attack. I think there's a possibility. There's still a possibility that Trump was out of the loop, but if he was, he would have been speaking out and saying, hey, I did not approve this. This is not okay. This is an escalation. This is the destruction of a nuclear treaty. This is something that I have not signed up for, specifically when it comes to derailing Russian civilian trains and taking the lives of 7 innocent civilians here from the Russian side here. Now, let's be honest here. Russia could end this special military operation and they could just declare this a war. Now, if that would happen, Russia would then completely destroy all of Ukrainians' energy supply. That's what the United States did to Iraq. It crippled all of its infrastructure right away. Lights out in Ukraine. Russian missiles would then destroy bridges over the Dnieper. Russian missiles would then destroy the railways from Romania and other regions of Ukraine, specifically coming in from Poland, where a lot of the military hardware has been moving in and out of. And then a war would mean a full attack. We haven't seen a full attack. We have seen the Russians predominantly try to get control of Russian-speaking areas and territories that they accuse the Ukrainians of hurting Russian-speaking population people in. Now, the Ukrainians came off with their own list of demands here, but we could also see a Russian full mobilization. And let's be honest here, what I do probably see here happening is a full-on destruction of all of Ukrainian infrastructure and transportation hubs. That probably is what is going to be the result of this kind of retaliation. Or near Odessa, not on Odessa, but I think in the water, Putin blows up a nuclear weapon just to show them, look what we got, look what we could use. And it could be a show of force. There might be maybe a Poseidon weapon. I don't think he would use the Poseidon weapon, but he could hint at using the Poseidon weapon. He could blow off a nuclear weapon near Ukraine and then kind of show it off. Putin could also, and again, this guy's capable of anything here. A lot of people are like, he's not invading. He invaded. We told you this was in the making for an extremely long time. He could also demonstrate some new type of intercontinental ballistic type of missiles, and he probably will be when it comes to destroying significant portions of Russia's infrastructure. And the Ukrainians have been going after the Russian infrastructure, and now with Putin declaring them terrorists, he's going to, quote, try to wipe out the terrorists, and he's going to be using all forms of sinister forms of warfare against the Ukrainians, and the Ukrainians outmanned, outgunned here, and truly, this is just going to be a wild situation. That's not going to be good for either party. It's a horrible situation. This is, we also just found out that U.S. Senator Lindsey Graham, who was in Ukraine before and after this major sabotage attack, spent nearly $500,000 on a hotel room stay in Ukraine. Yes, this is the reporting we're getting from Nick Sorter that highlighted this usspending.gov receipt here, talking about how hotel accommodations were equal to $411,000 and $634. I don't know how many cents exactly, but it doesn't matter. as this is the contract here. As Nick Sorter says, people love whining in my comment section when I say Congress takes a lot of vacations. They're not on vacation. They're working in their districts. Bullish. Lindsey Graham was just partying in Ukraine on our dime. When did Lindsey Graham become the senator for Ukraine? As he was there, Mike Pompeo was there. A lot of swamp monsters were there for this major attack by the Ukrainians against the Russians. As a lot of people are saying, how are these guys clued in here? But Donald Trump wasn't. Donald Trump didn't know what was going on here. I don't believe that. This kind of sabotage conflict inside of Russia really is kind of terrifying. It's terrifying because it just shows you the advancements of how lethal, how destructive, how undefensible a lot of these drones are, especially when they're fiber optic drones. When they're fiber optic drones, signal jammers, all these type of new weapons don't work. They just clearly do not work at all. And we have seen individuals like Eric Schmidt that were part of the AI technocratic Pentagon board after leaving Alphabet and Google come out and play a major role in this. As he recently came out and said, listen, stop making tanks, start making drones. Cheap drones have transformed this battlefield, according to Schmidt, and he's right. As he's predicting, artillery, mortars, they're going to be phased out because they're ineffective. What is effective? A kid with a little joystick and a few $100s of hardware with an explosive rig to it. And soon there's going to be nanobots with the same kind of applications that are going to go up your nose. Just blow up your prefrontal cortex. Just go into your heart. It's gonna be, I'm playing the video game. Blow up your heart. Oh, you had a heart attack. Oh, too bad for you. Oh. You think those capabilities don't exist? They do. And they're far more sinister than we understand here. As even JP Morgan, the CEO of JP Morgan came out and said, yeah, you shouldn't be stockpiling Bitcoin. You should be stockpiling bullets. Yeah, sadly, the prediction for the future of what's going to be happening here is more war, more conflict. As some people are already saying that we are in fifth forms of generational warfare with other foreign countries right now. I made a previous video about that, about China. An interesting kind of theory there that a lot of people have that I think is worth considering here. As we had the former president of Russia come out and recently declare Russia's seeking victory here, not compromise. As he has officially declared here that they will not be losing the conflict, and that this back and forth type of a war here is truly something that is going to be with us for the foreseeable future. I mean, this type of drone attack, I mean, this is just sinister genius. Let's be real with ourselves here. You take these trucks, you just drive them in. It's impossible to stop every single truck. It's impossible to search every single truck. It's impossible to stop every piece of machinery and hardware. And when you have these type of capabilities that, of course, you could plant, you could put in there for years, and you could just leave them. And then they could be just automated. AI could be calling and making all the decisions here based on threat assessments. These trucks self-destructed themselves here. They were placed, for what many people believe, in these fields next to military bases for, some people say weeks, some people say months. It wouldn't surprise me, especially now with solar tech, that a lot of this type of stuff, a lot of these batteries could be set up onto systems that could be there for a very long time. And all you have to do, set up some of these devices, set up some of these, it could just take even one. And you do not need those layers of type of hardware that you spend hundreds of millions of dollars on. All you need is just this new cheap level, as I think we're going to soon and have already evolved to a place where it's not just hand-sized field drones. We got to understand there's small drones, bullet-sized drones. And again, Schmidt's saying, hey, get rid of these tanks, get rid of these artillery. There's going to be huge drone-on-drone forms of warfare, and that's already happening in Ukraine right now. There's specific drones that are trying to counter and fight the drones in the sky as we're speaking. it's just a crazy type of way of thinking about it, as the average infantry doesn't stand a chance. I mean, they set up all these nets. The Russians have set up all these nets around their major kind of transportation hubs in the battlefield in Ukraine. And these drones are like, we'll just go underneath them. And then, oh, look, a car's coming. And then you see people driving, and then you just see and you see their eyeballs just become white, and it's like, oh crap, we're done. Boom, done. It's crazy. It's human life just taken. You see people just like surrender. You see people sleeping. You see people passed out. You see people begging for mercy. The drones don't care. They don't take any prisoners. Absolutely ruthless, evil, crazy types of war that is now modern types of conflict that people are just forced into. And they're like, no, you're going to go. You're going to go, infantry, man. You're going to go. And again, the Russians are doing this. The Ukrainians are doing this. The Ukrainians are more short for manpower, though. So this situation is a little bit more desperate for them. And that's why they rely on tech, and that's why they've been doubling down and increasing their kind of drone warfare. The Russians are pissed off. They're going to retaliate soon. When they do, we're going to be talking about it and a lot more, all here from an honest, earnest perspective. And if you thought we did that, share this video with your friends and family members. A lot more to get into, all here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.